Okay, so let's continue talking about blockchain and reconciliation. Blockchain solves a settlement reconciliation issue. It doesn't really deal with much of the analytical needs in our world. Our analytical needs are to turn transactions into balances, simply to understand what's happened over time. We take and copy many business events into many different data supply chains, as I call them. And those data supply chains, if they tend to diverge from each other, they tend to raise questions about the accuracy of what the business events are represented in those balances. And so that process of our reporting processes, blockchain doesn't really play a big role in that. In fact, blockchain doesn't do anything really when it comes to posting processes. It really doesn't have much to do at all with the balance creation process. That process of posting transactions to balances is something that hasn't really been attacked in any significant way in other processes. Let's talk about this social banking, social commerce platform. As we talked about, you want to start with understanding your position, your balances. You want to be able to move through those over time, see what your position was at different times, in different ways. If we have to create those positions, create those balances, that's going to require a posting process somewhere in the midst of this data supply chain in order to start with understanding the balances. That process of posting is something that would need to be scaled. And we want to be able to do that across many different kinds of transactions. We want to be able to accumulate our balance sheet based upon many different companies, based upon many different kinds of transactions. That's where the disparity of the data structures used in so many of the ledgers today increases and drives up this curve of the data integration cost. The cost of computing over time has been declining, and yet the data integration cost continues to rise because we have more and more data. In the early days, when computing was very expensive, we had little data. We organized that data to get rid of details quickly to keep the computing costs low. But as data grows, our data integration cost is now at a point where it may exceed the compute cost available to us, necessary to produce our outputs and reports. That process of aggregating our data, posting our data, is something that requires a data supply chain to get to that position. That's not something blockchain solves. That's something that a metric engine would attack much more directly.